Excuse me. All right, I'm back. You guys are back. Gabe DeArmond here, Mizzou, Kentucky, just about ready to kick off from Faroe. I know we already get a few people watching, got a few comments coming in. Appreciate that. So you guys know how this works, man. We're just going to watch along. We're going to talk about the game. You guys throw up your comments. I'll throw out some things I'm thinking while I'm watching this, and we'll go from there. There's not a whole lot to it. We'll just chat about the game and see what happens here over the next 2.5, 3.5 hours. I say 2.5 because, man, Kentucky plays some fast games now. They like to run the ball. So, hey, if you're here, shoot a comment. I'm going to add it to the broadcast. Just want to kind of get a feeling for who's here, who's watching, see if we got some of the same people, if we got some new people in. Tell us what you're eating, what you're drinking. I just had some pepperoni and crackers from Burger Smokehouse between the pregame show and the live show. I'd be okay with the 2.5-hour game because that means it's a little bit quicker. I get to the Boulevard and take your guys' calls on the post game. But hey, we'll do what we got to do. So Mizzou and Kentucky, I think should just be about a minute from kickoff here. And again, there may be some of you who this is the first time you're checking this out, or hey, it has been a while since Missouri played a game. It's been about 2 weeks. So want to remind you, I'm probably going to be a little bit behind you guys. I cut the cord a couple years ago. I do everything through streaming. Not my internet, but my feed just tends to be a little bit, probably about a play behind. Sometimes 2 plays behind. It's cool. You guys are going to chat about the game. You're probably going to be a little bit ahead of me. So sometimes my analysis might lag a little bit, which is why I'm not doing play-by-play and things like that. So, we'll just talk about what happens. And there you go. Harms just starting out with Jameson and ginger and hot wings. I might come over, man, because that sounds like it might be okay for a late October game. I know Justin is in here. I mean, his little icon, his picture is Jaeger, so I know he likes to have some Jaeger during the games. True Divinity, hopefully he's going to show back up at some point. He'll be on Bud Light number 37, I think, by the time this one gets going. So looks like Kentucky gets the ball first, which I think is probably, I don't know who won the toss, but if I'm Eli Drinkwitz, I'm good with putting Kentucky's offense on the field first because Kentucky's offense is the weaker part of this team. I was talking about before on the pregame show, I was saying if I'm Missouri, I load the box. I make Terry Wilson beat me throwing the football. Now, that's sometimes easier said than done, but I absolutely force him to do it. And he's completing, a good clip of his passes. He hadn't turned it over a lot. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. But I force him to do it. I force him to go show me he can do it. And Dennis, we plan to keep doing things this way. I think on game days, we're going to do it for basketball. I haven't missed actually being at the stadium as much as I thought I would. First snap, nice closing speed there from Martez Manuel. Like I said, make him throw the football. But yeah, we plan to keep doing this. And honestly, Dennis, when I first read that comment, I thought it said, love this format. Hope I briefly read it as something along the lines of hope you get COVID. So I'm glad that's not what it said, but appreciate you being here, man. And Striker. So here's my comment. Best helmets we have. I agree. Helmets are fine. Easily the worst uniforms they have. These yellow jerseys are, I'm not a uniform guy. I don't care. It's not going to make them play worse, but they're by far the ugliest uniforms that Missouri owns. They shouldn't do that. So. All right, so yeah, again, Justin posted this comment about 30, 40 seconds ago, so you're a little ahead of me, 3rd and 10, though. And yeah, this is interesting that Kentucky throws the ball on the first 2 plays. And that, this is one of the things you miss by not being at the game. I couldn't see, and yes, T-Rise, I do mean outfits. I didn't look at the alignment of the defense, so maybe Missouri was stacking the box and just saying, hey, you're going to have to throw the football. If they were, I agree with that. Or maybe it was, maybe those were run-pass options, and Missouri or Kentucky looked at the situation and said, hey, we're going to have to throw the football. Either way, hey, that's what you need to do. You need to put Kentucky in 3rd and 10. You need to let Trey Williams, Trajan Jeffcoat kind of pin their ears back. Looks like they on 3rd down, Chris Turner was lined up inside there. And see, now, here's the thing. First of all, good start by Missouri. Also, Kentucky doesn't mind doing that. Like, they don't mind just throwing short, not turning the ball over on 3rd and 10 and punting. They're okay with that, you know. Cade Musser, the return man, and he catches it, so that's good news. Patrick disagrees with my uniform take. I don't know what to tell you, man. Those yellows they're terrible. They look dull, and it's not. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but whatever. Again, I don't get on uniform kicks. It's fine with me. They can wear whatever they want. But you know, wow, Fair caught a ball over his shoulder running backwards, but probably good that he caught it because it was going to get a big Kentucky roll. So Missouri at least starts at the 20 instead of the 4 or something like that. All right, so we'll roll these other SEC scores along the bottom. I know you guys are being able to flip channels and stuff. Last I saw out of Alabama, Tennessee, Jalen Waddle had been helped off the field with what I really hope is not a serious knee injury, because that would be terrible. And how about Missouri starting the 2nd week in a row with a flea flicker? I'm not sure the first snap last week was a flea flicker, but they ran one very early. And who's number 7? That's Damon Hazelton. Okay. Some of these numbers, man. So Hazelton getting the start and making a play. Like, that's a pass thrown behind the line of scrimmage that he made 2 guys miss and picked up, 15, 17 yards. So, hey, nice statement from the guy that a lot of us were saying might have lost some playing time last week. And this is how I think you have to attack Kentucky. Now, look, great tackle on that first down play, but I think you got to run the football. They've proven their pass defense, they can take the ball away, all that. So I think you're going to have to run the ball some. And, Dan, I do not own any Mizzou jerseys. I own, honestly, I'm not sure. I know I do own one jersey. I own a Jackie Robinson Brooklyn Dodgers jersey that I bought at the Hall of Fame a long time ago. At one point, I had an Eddie George Tennessee Titans jersey, but then that was commandeered as a sleep shirt for my wife, and I don't know what's happened to it. So I'm not a big jersey person, and I don't have a lot of Mizzou gear. So, that's. But no, I don't love the jerseys. All right, so see, this is what I kind of like about this format. Justin tells me Bazelak makes a good decision, and I'm waiting to find out what it is, whether he throws the ball away or whether he does something to get a first down. So, it's kind of fun, like getting it kind of spoiled but not totally spoiled. Yeah, and I agree. Good decision. Runs for a first down. So Missouri midfield already picked up a couple first downs after getting a 3 and out. So definitely a good start. And this game, look, man, you got to start off well. You can't fall behind Kentucky by 2 scores, or you're never going to get the ball. Who's number 51 for Missouri? I'm going to have to look up the roster here because I'm not sure if that's a guy that has started a lot. It may very well be. I just don't know some of the linemen's number. Drew Wise? The long snapper was on the field on that last play. That is, maybe he was an extra tight end? That's really interesting. Either that or I misread a number. But I thought that Drew Wise was there, which would be intriguing. Okay, maybe Zeke Powell has changed numbers because the roster I have, which is admittedly from preseason, has Drew Wise as number 51. But there you go. Okay, apparently 51 is Powell. So. Not exactly ideal from the offensive line there. Bazelak running for his life. DeAndre Square, the guy that had the pressure on that second down play, Missouri was one of his first offers. They recruited him pretty heavily, but he came on a blitz and just totally untouched. So that offensive line that had been better than we expected, a little bit of pressure there on that series. But again, when you're playing Kentucky, they're not going to run away and hide and score 45 points on you. You don't have to score every time you touch the ball. Like Justin said, you flip the field, you take 3 or 4 minutes off the clock. It's okay. If you don't score, pin them back, make them go 90 yards to score. You're not going to have to score every time you touch the ball against this team. They want to play a 21-17 game, something like. I mean, they probably want to play a 21-0 game, but you're going to have chances. They're probably not going to run away and hide early on, is my point. So it's okay to get a couple first downs and punt. Terrible snap on that punt, but really nice scoop by Grant McInnes. And, yeah, Kentucky starts at the 15, and you've got to consider that successful. Real quick, while we got time, want to point you guys to Colin Gentry Law Group. You can see their logo up there in the right-hand corner of the screen. They are in Jefferson City. You can get in touch with them, callgentry.com, and they will handle really any of your legal needs, but especially personal injury needs, things along those lines. That's something they've really started to hone in on the last few years. So if you need any legal things, call in Gentry Law Group. If you're in the Jeff City area, honestly, if you're in the Columbia area, it takes – I've driven down to their offices. It takes, 35 minutes from door to door from my house. Well worth it. Because they're going to take care of you. They're going to look out for you. So just want to make sure that you guys are aware of the people that are making all of these things possible this year. Hopefully you're enjoying them. And if so, if you do get in a situation where you need legal help, or if you need something personal injury wise, then go to Colin Gentry and give them your business. Tell them you heard about it here on PowerMizzou. Chip Gentry's your guy down there, so get in touch with them. Alabama has, and I'll update the score here. Shouldn't be too hard throughout the game because there's only one other game going on, but Alabama's taking a 7-0 lead late in the first on Tennessee. Mac Jones 9-9 for 145. I don't know if Mac Jones is going to get Heisman votes, but, he'll get votes. I don't know if he'll really be like a finalist, be in that position. He might be, but he's a guy that, look, I think we got to give him a lot more credit for what Alabama's doing so far this year. He's got great receivers, but also, he's played really well. So, Striker's asking for numbers on inside and outside running so far this season. And I'm going to try to look that up for you here. Let me see. I'm on PFF right now. And so, yeah, rushing direction, team totals. Hang on. I'm signed in on the wrong computer. So give me just a minute. And I will, Striker, I'll find those numbers for you. And if you guys got things like that you want to know throughout the game, hey, I've got access to a lot of this stuff. So, yeah, rushing direction, basically between – the easiest way to do it is between the tackles. Missouri this year, I'm going to have to do the math in my head. They've got 35 carries for 162 yards, which is almost exactly a little over 4 yards a carry. So left tackle to right tackle, 35 carries for 164 yards. Then outside the tackles, which includes quarterback runs. So I'm going to take the quarterback runs out of it. They've got 52 for... Hang on. 52 for 222, which is... So the numbers aren't that different, honestly. They have 3 rushing touchdowns. 2 of them have been outside left. 1 has been over the left guard. They don't have... and then 1's on a quarterback scramble. So it's not as big a difference as I thought. I mean, the numbers are pretty similar inside and outside as far as yards per carry for this team so far this year. I know Jalen Knox had a couple outside, including a 16-yard run against LSU, so that helped those numbers. Gary, I don't know, maybe your cable system doesn't have SEC Network, but like I'm getting this game fine through Hulu on my computer. But I watched one of the earlier games on the ESPN app. I didn't have any issues with it, but different for everybody probably. So Kentucky's first down took almost 6 minutes, so you'll take that. You'd be happy. I'm going to log into the stat log so I can kind of keep you guys updated with some numbers as we go along. Hey, you all day long you'll take Kentucky being in 2nd and 12, Striker, it does break it down by position, left guard, left tackle, right guard, right tackle, whatever. So if you let me know what you want to know, I can probably I'll do my best to kind of get you specifically what you are what you're wanting to know. So yeah, so far, I mean, Kentucky 24 total yards on 8 plays. You'll take that all day long. And I think the first series they were in 3rd and 10. This one they're in 3rd and 8. So, and now in 4th and 8, actually, now that I look at the updated situation. So Missouri's defense so far doing its job, doing what you would want them to do. Oh, I can, running back runs specifically. Yeah, I can look at that in just a second. And I will do that, Striker. I'll get back to you when they have a commercial or something. No pressure on the quarterback, but like they haven't really been in a situation where, they ran twice here and they haven't dropped back a ton. Now this on that 3rd down play they did, and Terry Wilson had time, but great coverage by Gillespie, and Ennis Rakestraw was in the area. And Wilson isn't really a guy, again, that I think can hurt you much in that situation. You have to you have to make him do it. So, Striker, you were asking about specific players. So Larry Roundtree, for example, has to the edges, he has 24 carries for 150 yards. And between the tackles, he has 26 carries for 117 yards. So he's actually been better outside the tackles. Tyler Beatty, let's see, he has, I don't have a ton of carries overall, but he has 10 carries for 64 yards between the tackles and 5 carries for 5 yards outside the tackle. So he's actually been better up the middle, which is pretty interesting. Eric wants to know if the Kentucky O-line's that good or if the pass rush is that bad. I think the pass rush is still average, but yes, the Kentucky offensive line is very good. I think probably in that discussion, at least with Tennessee, I'm not sure if it's Alabama, but they do have a good offensive line. What kind of punt was that? I didn't even see it. I looked away, so I don't really know. Going into the season, thought defense would be a strength. Yeah, Tyler, it hadn't been great, but you do have to, again, give them credit for when it had to, that defense came up big last week. Now, the only goal of defense really is just give up fewer points than your team scores. Now, I understand you don't want to give up 500 yards, 430 passing, and 41 points. I'm not saying they played a great defensive game last week, but they did make the 4 plays that they absolutely had to make. So they deserve a little credit. But you're right. They've got to be better. No question about that. So. Yeah, Todd brings up a good point here. I actually don't think you want to blitz Terry Wilson and put a ton of pressure on him because he's probably more dangerous when he gets outside the pocket. Now, I think you have to be a Missouri fan of a certain age to remember this. But 2004, which was Brad Smith's junior year, Missouri went to Kansas. And Mark Mangino did this thing that a lot of people started doing. He didn't rush Brad Smith. He basically had 3 linemen just stay at the line. He said, just don't let him out of the pocket. He had 3 linemen stay at the line. He put a spy on him, and he dropped 7 guys into coverage. And he was saying, Brad Smith, you got to beat us throwing the football. And Brad couldn't do it that day. Missouri couldn't get anything going on offense. And other teams started to try to do that a little bit. And Brad did have some tougher moments when teams started to do that. So, again, I'm not looking at all 22. I'm not saying that's what Missouri is doing, but I do think that is a possibility, at least, that Missouri is doing a little bit what Todd says, just trying to contain Wilson and keep him in the pocket. The biggest difference, I think, is probably talent, Wes. The biggest difference in the defensive line. Again, like, yes, Craig Kuligowski did a nice job and all that, and you've got to respect him. But I don't think, like, Brick Haley's had some good defensive linemen over the years. I think you got to give him credit that he's not just a moron who forgot how to coach these guys. I think the bigger issue is probably talent, and there was some scheme in there for a little bit as well. Yeah, and D. Harms, yeah, good point. Like we were talking about, keep the quarterback from running, make him beat throwing the football. No question. I think that's – and these first 2 series have proven, like we said before the game, make Terry Wilson prove he can beat you throwing the football. So far, he has not proven that. Now, he may prove it, but so far, he absolutely has not proven it. So I think that's what you stick with and make him do it. Again, Kentucky 24 yards on 9 plays. And Missouri just steady so far. Like no huge gains, but moving the ball on offense. They've got 3 first downs of the first 2 series. Hanging on to the ball will be, by the time this next snap comes, winning the time of possession battle. Eric, read and react, honestly, I don't 100% get what that means either. We tried to get guys to explain it to us. But contain basically means you just don't rush the passer too much. Your goal is not to hit the passer. Your goal is to keep him in the pocket. Read and react, I guess it means you pay I'm not exactly sure what that meant in the way Missouri was doing it. That became a phrase that Missouri fans hated. And I understand why, because the scheme didn't really work. But I'm not sure it was as simple as, read and react was the wrong thing. And yeah, Missouri throws short of the sticks on 3rd down and all that. And yeah, Davin, I actually knew that was you, but I didn't want to give away your first name on the broadcast in case you wanted to keep your secret anonymous identity. So there you are. Everybody knows this is Davin now. But yeah, I agree with Gary. The 3rd down play, I'm sure Larry Roundtree, I wouldn't think Larry Roundtree was the first read on that. I would think that was more of like a safety valve type situation, but I could be wrong on that too. Again, that's a thing that watching live, it's hard to say for sure. You'd have to be able to look back at it and get a little more idea exactly what was going on. So, all right, so halfway through the first quarter, nothing much yet, man. This is a pretty typical Kentucky game. Kentucky and Missouri games don't tend to get interesting till the 4th quarter anyway. That's when crazy stuff starts to go down in Kentucky-Mizzou games. Generally not in Missouri's favor, at least over the last few years. So, who knows? All trends have to change eventually, right? Maybe today's that day. Just looking at the numbers, I mean, there's really nothing really sticks out so far. Missouri's got 53 total yards. Kentucky has 24. Missouri's been the better team, but neither team's been anywhere close to scoring. Let's kind of look at defensively, see who's been around the ball for Missouri. Trey Williams already 2 tackles, including half a tackle for loss. Nick Bolton, 2 solos and a quarterback hurry. Keel Byers has a half tackle for loss. So he's one of the guys that was not available against LSU who is available for this game. Brandon Eccles, the safety, already 3 tackles for Kentucky. Or defensive back, anyway. I can't say for sure if he's a safety or a corner. I don't know. Yeah, Patrick, first read and react at Mizzou from a DC with Larry Smith. You could be right. Look, back then, Larry Smith was my college years. I covered some games, but also just kind of entertained myself for a fair number of them and wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to the X's and O's of football, to be quite honest with you, at that point in time. It's funny when you're sitting at home, commercials seem like they last way longer than when you're actually at the stadium working. Check out and see if Alabama scored any more yet, which seems Tennessee actually has the ball in Alabama territory, so you never know. Davin wants to go to Laser X. I agree, man. That looks like it'd be something to do. All right, it feels like we get a defensive score today. Maybe I'm just willing it into existence. Yeah, Todd, I think you're trying to. If it works, we'll give you credit for it, man. But we'll see. I think Terry Wilson might give you a chance at some point here. I mean, he hasn't been razor sharp throwing the football yet. First down is the whole key against this Kentucky team. And again, Missouri stops it for a yard. If you can keep Kentucky in second and long, I mean, you're going to be – they're just not an explosive offense. You know, they're not a team that's equipped to do that a whole lot. Second and long, third and long, I think you're going to be happy with where you're at most of the day. Wes is asking if Manuel is the 4-star that chose Missouri over LSU. I think you're thinking of Jelani Williams. Actually, is the kid out of St. Louis, and so yeah, the face mask on that second down play that. Definitely looked like a fair call against. Yeah, Gillespie definitely got that hand up in there. Do I think he'll get drafted? Yeah, I think so. I don't think he's a first A pick or anything. Well, I guess the first A is only the first round anymore. But yeah, I think he's going to get drafted. I think, Davin, 0 takeaways is correct. I'm going to look it up real quick. Just to make sure that's right. I don't remember one. There was one against Tennessee that got negated by a penalty, I know. But I don't believe they have a takeaway. I'll tell you here in just a minute. Okay, the opposing team, well, for some reason, Missouri's website is taking me to the 2019 stats, which doesn't particularly make a lot of sense. So maybe I can get you the 2020 stats in just a second. Yeah, that long ball was just, I mean, again, good coverage by Jarvis Ware, but that just wasn't very accurate. You know, the receiver never had a chance. This is how you force Kentucky to beat you. Make them throw the football. It's not working yet. So Let's see. Missouri opponents have not thrown an interception. Let me figure out where fumbles. They have lost a fumble. I don't remember it. But the stats do list Missouri's opposition as having a lost fumble. So it happens somewhere along the way. And there's another fumble. Kentucky didn't lose it, but yeah. So, hey, Missouri's defense doing what it needs to do in this game. They're keeping Kentucky down. This is, I think, going to be a very low-scoring game. I think 21 points might very well win this game. So again, just keep kind of plugging away, and maybe you break one, or maybe you finally get sustain a drive. But as long as the other team is doing absolutely nothing threatening on offense, that shouldn't be a big deal. Hey, Gary with the big story there. Yeah, 2 punts caught. That is a big deal. Totally agree, Stuart. Stack the box. Kentucky can't throw it. I'd put 7 guys, 8 guys up there every down. Every down. And then, hey, if they throw it over the top, then so be it. They might throw it over the top every now and then. But you can't stop everything, so stop the run game, and they might just stop the pass game on their own. Feels like we're just waiting for something to happen here. Maybe this is the drive for Missouri. That play's been successful a couple times to Damon Hazelton. He's made some guys miss out in the flat there, and yeah, off to a nice start. Probably trying to prove a little bit of a point coming back. He's got 3 catches, for 28 yards. I must have missed one of them. And there, Larry Roundtree gets going into Kentucky territory. So already 6 carries from Roundtree. So the commitment clearly is there from Drinkwitz early on. Tyler Beatty's he's really having a nice year. He's been a really good change of pace. Looks like a guy that should thrive in this offense. Now this one may be coming back. You guys probably already know if it did, but really been impressed with the way Tyler Beatty has run so far this season. I assume that's an illegal formation and not a false start. I don't know. I can't hear. Like I said, I'm not allowed to play the audio, because if I do and it goes out over the channel, I'm going to get in trouble with YouTube and ESPN and a whole bunch of people I don't want to be in trouble with. So I've got to just make my own things up in my head. Yeah, illegal formation. There you go. I like continuing to stick with the run on 2nd and 14. You don't have to get it all back at once. Put yourself in a little bit more manageable situation. And okay, so coming up on, oh yeah, that was weird. Xavier Delgado just went down. Like, Missouri went back and got lined up for the snap, and then Delgado went down after that. Can't tell if he's pointing to his knee or his calf. Well, they didn't do like the ACL test, so that's good. That looks to me like a cramp. And especially, he managed to get back to the line and get lined up, so you would think that that's not something super serious, but, again, So the listed backup at left guard is true freshman Dylan Spencer. The backup at right guard is Luke Griffin, so that's a guy that could go in as well. Griffin, a redshirt freshman, so be interesting to see which guy they put there. Mike Ruth is another backup at left guard. Well, we won't know yet who they're putting in because the first quarter is over, a scoreless first quarter. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring up the stats for you. Obviously, these are the final stats from last game. They're not currently accurate. I will get them accurate, but again, you just kind of have to watch me do it because that's how this works. You can try to guess, though, as we go along, right? And just see if you know the number I'm going to put in next. So Missouri with a 43-14 edge on the ground. I would assume that most people would take a quarter in which your defense gave up 23 yards. That seems like a good, solid path to winning a football game for me if you only give up 92 yards the entire game. Not that I'm saying that's going to happen, but if it did, I think Eli Drinkwitz would be quite happy with it. Missouri, with the best of it in every statistical category so far, Hang on, I got to get that scoreboard out of the way so you guys can see it. Obviously, no turnovers. But Missouri has, I don't want to say dominated the game, but they've clearly been the better team so far. No question about it. So there you go. So apparently people saying that Dylan Spencer is coming in, and that's according to Mitchell 40 on Twitter and on the message board. So that's good. Yeah, Justin brings up a good point. 3rd and 10. You're on the Kentucky 45 to start the quarter. This might be 4-down territory, depending on what you get. Not if it's 4th and 10. But if you get into 4th and 3 or 4, this might be 4-down territory. Now, I know you've got a punter that you feel pretty good about out to 50. Or, I'm sorry, a field goal kicker. You've also got an offense on the other side of the football that hadn't really done anything, so maybe you want to pin them back inside their 10, but definitely a situation where they could be running 2 plays to try to convert here. Dennis feeling good about the game, starting to move the ball. Yeah, so far they're doing well. Mevis made last week, a 52-yarder, I think, was the long kick he made last week. And I don't remember if that seemed like it had a lot of room to spare or not. But, we might find out at some point. I wouldn't find out here, though. All right, so you guys have already seen the 3rd down call. I have not yet seen it. It's obviously not going to be very successful. I don't mind that call. You got half of it. You put yourself in 4th and 5. I don't mind that call, to be quite honest. Now, that's right along the lines of what I would have liked to see him do on 4th and 10. Get half of it, and then see where you go from there. And obviously, where they go is managing to convert. And that's just easy for Damon Hazelton. I mean, that's his 4th catch. I believe he's the only wide receiver who has caught a ball so far, and having a heck of a day so far. It's interesting to see. Some people are telling me about the 4th down conversion. Some people are telling me 1st and goal. So it's interesting to see just where you guys are all at in the broadcast. Tyler Beatty again, and that was not a very well defended option by Kentucky, to be quite honest. But apparently this one's coming back. Yeah. Maybe that's why it wasn't a very well defended option. I mean, they had Bazelak defended, but they certainly did not have Beatty defended, and I wonder 79 Larry Borum, that would be the right tackle. I mean, that's right where Missouri ran it. So let's see the Oh, well, it's down at the 15-yard line, so this isn't going to cost you most of that yardage. If it, I'm not sure I agree with the call either. But at least it wasn't way back at the line of scrimmage. Larry Borum, by the way, has had a heck of a year. He's the only Power 5 offensive lineman that has not allowed a quarterback pressure coming into this game. Missouri finding success over that right side. That's working. The ground game is working. Let's check the rushing numbers. Roundtree and Beatty have combined for 13 carries, 56 yards. It's about 4.5 a carry. Roundtree 10 for 40. Bazelak's run twice for 19. Missouri has run the ball 15 times and only thrown it 7. So kind of clear what Missouri's approach is here against this Kentucky defense. And I think it's the right one. We were talking about pregame. Run the football against this team. Daniel Parker lined up in the backfield on the 2nd down call as an H-back. Really just window dressing because he just kicked out right. Jalen Knox followed him, and then they handed the ball right up the middle. But 3rd and 5, manageable situation. Yeah, that's the play Beatty scored on last week. I don't think he scores here, does he? No, they marked him down. But that's the play he scored on against LSU on like a 29-yard run. Catch and run. All right, so Bazelak, did he get in? No. Interesting. I thought he did. But it appears by your guys' comments that somebody's getting in on the next play. So All right, so heck of a start for Missouri, really dominating this game so far. Um, they really are. They've been the better team on offense and defense. Kind of giving Kentucky a taste of its own medicine, just being physical, handing the football off. Oh, do that 10 more times. Yeah, that would be a 70-0 win. That would be solid, KC Salts. Really, very workmanlike from Roundtree so far. 11 carries, 41 yards. Like, haven't been a lot of big plays, but he's just been kind of consistently moving the ball. And that'll work, especially against this team. Just churn out some yardage, move the clock, and I think maybe most importantly, make them have to play catch-up. If you can get one more score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, you're up 2 scores on Kentucky. Man, that's not what Kentucky's built for. Nice job by Roundtree hanging on to that ball, too. It looked like it was about maybe to pop loose as he got hit, but he held on to it, so... So I'm not sure what more you could ask for at this point if you're Missouri. I mean, this has gone according to the script you would have written before. Kentucky's done nothing on offense. Missouri has gotten at least 1 first down on every drive on offense, so they're moving the ball consistently. And they're doing it mostly on the ground. Let me look up the updated numbers as far as play distribution, but Missouri's run it a lot more than they've thrown it. Got 17 runs and 8 passes out of 25 plays. So if you didn't major in math, that's 68% run so far. And it's been successful. Missouri averaging 4.5 yards a carry so far. Roundtree's actually been the least productive in terms of yards per carry at 3.7, Bazelak 6.3, Beatty 5.3. So it's all worked pretty well so far. And Damon Hazelton 4 catches for 40 yards has been the main guy in the passing game. Nobody else has more than 1 catch. And no other receivers have a catch at all. Wide receivers, I should say. Nico Hay has one on the shovel pass, but no other wide receivers. I don't know that Kentucky's flat. They're just getting beat up front right now. On both sides, really. Well, that's not true. They're not getting beat up front by Missouri's defensive line. They don't throw the ball very well. Missouri's offensive line, though, I do feel like is beating Kentucky on the ball. Yeah, Justin's right there. You keep doing this, Kentucky's going to have to commit extra guys to the run, and that's when you throw the football. So. Yeah, good point there, T-Rise. I agree that the depth chart that was a statement to Damon Hazelton, I think. Hey, you're listed as third string. You gotta work a little harder, or something. Maybe that wasn't exactly the message, but there was clearly a message there. You got to do something different to get your spot back, and he's doing it so far. Heck of a game so far. Eric asking about the Bama-Tennessee game. No, I'm not shocked it's only 21-10 right now. I still think Bama wins by 4 touchdowns. I don't know what you agree with, Todd, but I appreciate it, and I'm just going to pretend it was something I said. So look at that. I mean, every team in this league already has 2 losses, except for, 3rd through 7th in each division. Missouri will legitimately be in 3rd in the division if they win this game. I mean, they'd be a half game up on Kentucky with the tiebreaker. Technically, they'd be a half game up on Tennessee, although they don't have the tiebreaker. Oh, yeah. So Terry Wilson out, Joey Gatewood in at quarterback. That is interesting. And, like, look, I don't think the quarterback should really get credit for that, but it did give Kentucky 30 some odd yards on first down. Again, all he did was hand the ball off, but, Dan, I'd have to go back and see Gillespie specifically on that play. I'm not sure what happened there. Oof. All right, so timeout, I guess. Kentucky. In a game that the first quarter went pretty quickly, but trudging along a little bit right now, just because there just hasn't been a lot happen so far. Missouri did put together the one drive. I don't know a ton about Gatewood, honestly. I know he was a highly ranked kid coming out of high school, but I'm not all that sure what his game is like and what his strengths are, so I'm interested to see him. So far, he's done a better job handing off than Terry Wilson because Kentucky's run the ball a little bit better with him at quarterback. So, again, he doesn't get any credit for that, but if the team moves, well, he will get credit for it and get to stay in the game. Nice little run by Gatewood there. Not only good move on the play fake, but then he jumped over a defender out on the left side, and I mean that's a big dude to try to bring down, man. He's got some size to him. Clock just rolling along. I mean, we've been playing 50 minutes, and we're already 6 minutes into the second quarter. That's what happens when both teams run the ball a lot, and there's not a million points. That wasn't a perfect pass by Gatewood, but that really looked like it should have been caught to me. I mean, it was behind the receiver. It wasn't a great pass, but he had enough room. I thought it definitely could have been caught. Oh yeah, that ball has to be caught. Hit the receiver right in the hands. I mean, again, not a perfect pass. He had to turn, but that ball has to be caught. And Striker, again, I don't know a ton about Joey Gatewood, other than he was highly ranked when he went to Auburn. He came out of high school as a 4-star, number 62 player in the country, 33 offers. Came out of Jacksonville, offers from Auburn, Alabama, Clemson, Florida, pretty much every. He could have gone anywhere he wanted, and so heavily coveted out of high school. I'm looking at our Kentucky site right now. He redshirted his first year at Auburn, then lost out to Bo Nix. He ran for 176 yards, but only had 54 passing yards as a redshirt freshman backing up Bo Nix. So not much in the way of a scouting report. That seemed like, boy, that third down play, I thought Martez Manuel maybe was fortunate not to get flagged. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong there, and I'm just seeing the replay, so let's see. Oh no PI, good no call there. Again, that's see. I like this better than Twitter because when I used to tweet during games, I would tweet something like that and I would just immediately get killed for saying that should have been PI. Well, sometimes you need a replay to see things, and sometimes at the stadium you don't see replays. So this is a little bit better format for me not immediately getting attacked, which I appreciate. 50-yard field goal wasn't the prettiest thing, but it did go in. So Kentucky on the board. That was Matt Ruffalo. So good job by the Missouri defense maintaining the lead, but also solid job by Kentucky of answering in some form. And getting on the board. So 7-3 now with, what do we got? 8.5 minutes left in the second quarter. And remember, Missouri gets the ball to start the third quarter. So if you can basically score once and get a stop, you got a good shot to get the ball back up 14-3 to start the third quarter. Obviously getting way ahead of yourself, but that's kind of how you look at things. With 8.5 minutes left, Missouri should get 2 more possessions in this half, and Kentucky should only get 1. That's about how you would expect the time to work out. So if you get 2 possessions, they get 1, you get the ball to start the third quarter. 3 of the next 4 possessions are yours. So really a chance for Missouri to stretch this thing out going forward. Once again, while we have a minute, want to remind you, Colin Gentry Law Group is making this possible. On the call with PowerMizzou, presented by Colin Gentry Law Group from Jeff City. Call them for all your personal injury needs. Go to callgentry.com. Look up, I don't have the number right in front of me, but you can get in touch with them in Jefferson City. And personal injury needs, also other things, like they'll help you out with other things, but I know that they definitely are doing more personal injury stuff here the last couple of years recently. So get in touch with them for any of your legal needs. Hopefully none of you will have any today. Hopefully you'll just hang out here and we'll watch a football game, and then you'll open a beer and you'll call me on the post-game show, and you guys will stay out of trouble, but we'll see how it goes, man. I mean, Hang on, I feel like I'm about to pull a cord out. Hopefully I'm still here. It appears I'm still here, so whatever I did was not too damaging. Yeah, obviously it'd be great for Missouri to force a turnover on defense. Defense has played well so far, though. Let's look at updated numbers. Kentucky has 66 yards on 20 plays. I mean, you'll take that 3.3 yards a play. You'll take that all day long, no question. So, time of possession in favor of Missouri, total yardage, passing yardage, rushing yardage, everything in favor of Missouri. Kentucky's thrown for 9 yards, by the way. All right, so I wonder if this is the drive we see a deep shot. Missouri's been sticking with the run. I'm curious if Kentucky commits a little bit more to the line, if this is where we see Missouri maybe take a shot down the field, which we have not seen so far today. It'll come at some point, but just haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I really don't think I've ever seen holding on a touchback. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. I mean, I guess technically, the official doesn't know that it's a touchback when he throws that flag, but I don't know that I've ever seen it called. Talk about needless penalties. Oh, hey, just saw flash across the line, 17-7, Indiana over Penn State. That's an interesting score out of the Big Ten. All right, so now you probably don't take the deep shot early because you're going to start on your own 15. So you probably try to do something to pick up a first down. Then if you do that, maybe you can take a shot somewhere. These officials are taking 6 hours to make one holding call, so I don't particularly enjoy that. I mean, why call that? The ball's already in the end zone. That's just bizarre. It was Jamie Petway, but that's just weird. So Kentucky declined it. So apparently it would have been a re-kick, not I don't know. Like I said, I've never seen a holding call called during a touchback. So I had no idea what would happen. Apparently it would have been 10 yards and you can re-kick from the 40. Well, you've already had a touchback, so what's the point? Missouri sticking with the ground game, which, I like that so far. Couple plays, and then from the tweet notification I just got, I fully expect Boo Smith to make a third down catch here. See? I'm telling you guys, I can see the future here. Todd Gessling out here. I don't know if that's a great combination, but look, I'll vouch for some logboat snapper. But you could, if you drink 12 of them, you are going to need Colin Gentry. So good call there. Yeah, Dennis, I've seen a couple people make the Chase Daniel comparison. In the pocket, he looks a little like him, so I can see it, but I'm going to hold off before I compare anybody to the best quarterback in school history. I understand it. Just stylistically, I agree. But let's go. Jalen Knox, I feel like was out there early. I could be wrong. I'll see if I can find out. Yeah, I don't know why my Hulu feed is so far behind yours. I don't know. It's how life is. My feed always tends to be behind. I get text during Chiefs games, and I'm a full snap behind my friends. So I don't know. It's just how it works. So third and 5 for me. Yeah. Okay. So Stryker says Knox was out there. That's what I thought. I thought I'd seen him out there. So yeah, he's healthy. He's playing. Dan, I think Drinkwitz has gone a little bit conservative for a few reasons. First of all, Kentucky's got a heck of a secondary, man. I mean, that pass defense is no joke. Also, they're running the ball pretty well. It burns some clock. Kentucky's not a team that's going to run away and hide. I like the game plan so far. I agree with it. Not the greatest third down situation there. That was Knox that he was intended for. But just nobody was open. I mean, sometimes best thing you can do is have an incomplete pass and punt the ball away. So we said Missouri was going to get 2 drives. Kentucky would get 1 before halftime. If Missouri gets a stop here, that is what's going to happen. Now, Kentucky certainly is a team that's capable of burning 5.5 minutes off the clock and taking this all the way to halftime. But that's obviously not the goal. And Dennis, yeah, I agree. I understand you're not saying he's Chase Daniel. Yeah, but stylistically, I do. In the pocket, he looks like him. He's not huge. He's bigger than Chase was. But feet are very calm. Just kind of looks relaxed back there. Doesn't ever look like he's in a hurry. From that point, I agree with you on the comparison. But I want to be very, very slow to publicly make a comparison to Chase Daniel in any way, because the last thing I want is to open our message board and have somebody saying that I said this kid was Chase Daniel. So that's why I approached it kind of the way I did there. Yeah, it could be right. Maybe Bazelak missed Gary saying it looked like Drinkwitz wasn't happy with Bazelak. Possible he missed a read or something along the line there. Again, kind of one of those situations that hard to know really what happened when you're just kind of watching on TV, especially when you're watching on mute. So not sure if that was something specific that Bazelak didn't do, or if we just caught kind of a part of a conversation that made it look that way. Who knows? So as we're approaching halftime, what I'll do at halftime is I'll update the stats. I'm going to take a break for a few minutes during halftime. I got to go get some more water, and we'll kind of reset things when the third quarter starts. But on pace for a first half, well under an hour and a half. The way this thing is going now, it probably will slow down a little bit in the last few minutes because probably see a few more passes, but. Stryker saying Drinkwitz wanted Bazelak to run there. I'm not sure there was much room to run it. I mean, he might have wanted him to run it. I'm not sure he'd have gotten a first down. Bazelak is 5 inches taller than Chance Danielson. There you go. I mean, I knew he was taller. I didn't know he was that much taller. But just the way they carry themselves looks similar when they drop back. Or, well, not drop back, because neither one of them really drops back, to be quite honest. Slow day in the SEC. The Auburn-Ole Miss game this morning. Then Tennessee, Alabama's going on right now. The only night game is South Carolina and LSU. And I think we'll find something out in that game. Be interesting to see if LSU bounces back, because if South Carolina goes and beats LSU in Baton Rouge, boy, this is going to be a real long year for Ed Orgeron. They've already lost more games than LSU thinks they should lose in a year. But we find out something about LSU, and then by extension, maybe we find out something a little bit about Mizzou and Mississippi State today. But, so far, Mizzou hanging in, been the better team for a quarter and a half. Now 5 big minutes. You'd love to go into halftime with the lead because you know you're getting the ball back to start the third quarter. Obviously with the chance to extend it to a 2-score lead. Wow, I had no idea until he hit the ground that Joey Gatewood had the ball on that play, on that first down play. I thought the running back had it the entire time. Also, again, I know I'm not supposed to have uniform takes. Maybe it's my TV, but Kentucky's helmets don't look like they match the uniforms. Pet peeve. So this feels like, I think this is Kentucky's 4th possession, and it feels like every time they've been in 3rd and 9 almost, and so Missouri about to get another, well, I guess 3rd and 7 here, but 3rd and long being the point. Missouri has won this game on 1st and 2nd down so far. Yeah, so far, Gatewood hasn't done anything that has been what I would term impressive. Yeah, it was Bolton that got the sack there, but it was really Trajan Jeffcoat that caused it. Trajan Jeffcoat was the first guy through, And then Bolton, when Gatewood stepped up, Bolton grabbed him. Trajan Jeffcoat has a sack in every game so far, and if you watch it, he stunts, comes up the middle, Gatewood has to move, and he runs straight into Nick Bolton. So definitely Jeffcoat is the guy that made that play, and yeah, he has been incredibly important early on. I mean, to step in and start, basically game 2 is after being off for a year is very impressive. Cade Musser has caught all 3 punts. That cannot be understated. So 2:53 left before halftime. The goal is points. Well, the goal is twofold. Number 1, it's points. Number 2, it's if you don't get points, don't leave Kentucky anytime. The worst case scenario here should be you take a 7-3 lead to halftime. And while Missouri would take that, you have the ball on the 35. You really would like to add to that, whether it's 10-3 or 14-3, but then you get the ball back to start the third quarter, and you really, really could do something, So it'll kind of be determined, obviously, by the first couple plays, whether Missouri can move, whether Kentucky's trying to use timeouts and get the ball back. But just don't turn it over, because Kentucky has done nothing so far to prove to me that they can go 80 yards, even if you just go 3 and out and punt it away. But yeah, if you can get a score here, even if it's only a field goal, you get the ball back to start the third, and then you've really got a chance to put Kentucky just in a situation that they're not comfortable in. I mean, you manage to get up 13-3, 17-3, then Kentucky is – they don't have to abandon the run, but they're putting a little pressure on themselves. I mean, look, each team's only had 4 possessions in this first half. So if you manage to go ahead by 2 scores, a possession into the second half, then you're forcing the other team to be awful close to perfect, even to have time to win the game the way it's been going. This is not like that LSU game that had 9 possessions each half with both teams. I'm not jinxing anybody. I'm just laying out what needs to happen as I watch another Laser X commercial. So Bama and Tennessee have gone to half, and that is 28-10, and I would have to think, more or less over. So Tennessee probably going to slip to 2-3, which is not a surprise. Not like anybody thought they were going to beat Alabama today. So yeah, huge drive here for Missouri. Missouri's been effective on offense. I don't know if they've been great, but they've been effective. 158 total yards, right about on pace for kind of what Kentucky's given up this season. Defense, though, 65 total yards for Kentucky. They're still 2 for 8 for 9 yards passing. Kentucky averaging 1.12 yards per attempt. Missouri is clearly we don't get to talk to Ryan Walters after games. We'll have to wait till Wednesday for that. But clearly they came out and said, you are not going to beat us running the football. You're going to have to throw it to beat us. There was a little bit of a deep shot from Bazelak, but he got crunched as he let it go. Yeah, I agree with T-Roz. It did look like Bazelak maybe hung on to that ball a little bit long. Now, I'm not sure if Bannister was open or not, but it looked like he hung on to it a beat longer than he should have. Nico Hayes turned into a pretty effective receiver. That play looks similar to the one where he scored the winning touchdown against LSU. Not exactly the same. Actually, kind of a similar route to what Tyler Beatty ran earlier, that little angle route. But, yeah, if he can pull his weight blocking, he's probably kind of laying claim to the tight end job. Larry Roundtree just kind of gobbled up there. But that's all right. That burns a little clock. You're now at the point where either you're going to give no time to Kentucky or they're going to have to start using their timeouts on defense. All right, so let's see who the hold's going to be on here. Live, I did not see the flag come in, so I didn't actually see it thrown. Be interested to see where it was. $31 looked like Boo Smith, yeah. Again, just kind of an unnecessary hold. It didn't really get him any extra yardage. But it doesn't hurt because Bazelak comes right back and picks up the first down. And so, well. So, yeah, a lot of flags flying today, apparently. Larry Roundtree's going to feel this game on Monday. Well, let's also be fair about this, KC Salts. Missouri's run 13 more plays than Kentucky has. So there's been a little more opportunity to commit a hold. And, look, that was a hold on Zeke Powell. He tackled the guy. Now, he didn't do it till the guy was already tackling Larry Roundtree. I'm not saying all of them have been right. I thought that one was fair, though. But, again, Kentucky's not getting the ball back. So you have, at a minimum, achieved one objective with this drive. Obviously, now the goal is to get points. You're in Kentucky territory. But at the very least, you're not giving the ball back to Kentucky. And Missouri still has 2 of its own timeouts. So the clock really shouldn't be a factor here. Dominic Jacinto in the game for first time I can remember there. Are they in field goal range yet? I mean, they're at the 36. It would be a 54-yarder. I think they're at least in a situation where they could try it if they had to. I'm obviously waiting to see what happens on third down. I think they're going to do something good, and they're not going to have to worry about a field goal. That's a heck of a throw on the run to Kiki Chisholm. Really a heck of a throw there. You don't teach that. That's impressive. So 42 seconds, timeout, ball on the 18-yard line. At worst, you should be up 10-3 going into half. Yeah, that's a nice catch too. That wasn't like pinpoint, but that was a heck of a throw. So now 42 seconds, one timeout. You can still run the football. You can still throw over the middle. I mean, everything. You still got the whole playbook here. You should have, you should have 4 or 5 plays minimum to try to get in here because ball's also going to start on a first down. Yeah, this is a good point. T-Rise, like, you got to hang on to the ball. You don't want to do anything silly because this is also a situation where a pick becomes a pick 6 pretty easily. So you do need to be a little bit careful. And Davin, yeah, good point. Like, it's fair to question the quarterback selection coming out of camp, but you also have to remember Bazelak coming off a knee injury, abbreviated camp. Maybe they just didn't see enough of him, so I'm at least willing to give them that that benefit of the doubt. But again, fair to kind of wonder why he wasn't the starter coming out of camp. All right, so 13 seconds left. Missouri still has a timeout. I guess they're going to spike it. Well, I don't love that at all. I don't love the hurry up and run the quarterback sneak. That's weird. So I'm just going to watch this. So Missouri calling a timeout now, which obviously they have to do. But, yeah, Missouri did not handle that well. They should have called the timeout, I don't know, earlier. Because now, yeah, you're in a situation where really all you can do is throw a quick pass because if you run and don't get there, you're not scoring. And you just can't be in that situation. And I don't like the rush up and run a quarterback sneak. That Josh Heupel always used to do that. They get in 4th and 1, and they just sprint to the line and run a quarterback sneak. And everybody in the stadium knew it was coming. Just take your time and get the right play. You don't have to run up and do that. So Parker in the backfield is lead blocker, but you got to throw, obviously. It's the same situation LSU was in kind of late last week on 3rd down. Yeah, I mean, look, you're up 10-3. You which isn't bad, but you definitely feel like you've left something out there. Um, you know, it's not bad. You'll take it. You're happy with it, but it feels like there should have been a little bit more. I mean, Missouri, dominated this game, and you hate 18-yard field goals, right? I mean, 18-yard field goals feel terrible. But you're ahead 10-3. You get the ball back, I agree, Alex. You should have called timeout after Roundtree got to the 1. That gives you at least one more play and maybe 2 more plays because you're throwing the football. But you get points. You're up 10-3. You get the ball back to start the 3rd quarter. You're happy with that. Could have been more, certainly, but you're happy with where you're at. Nothing to be disappointed about. They've clearly been the better team. They've controlled this game from the word go. We're going to actually get in and update your stats here real quick. And it is a I mean, it really is a dominant performance for Missouri so far. It feels like it's not as close as 10-3 would indicate. Now, the skeptic is going to say it feels like we've been here against Tennessee before, right? And I do understand that, or against Kentucky before. I'm sorry, you don't love letting Kentucky hang around because of the history and some of the things have happened with them. But I mean, total yards is 219 to 65, guys. This is a complete and utter domination so far. First downs is 12-4 in favor of Missouri. You can't be unhappy. You can feel like there should have been more, but you can't be unhappy with where the game's at. No turnovers. Hey, that I think if you had said before the game, will you take a touchdown lead at halftime and get the ball to start the third quarter? Everybody takes it. Well, that's where you're at, and I don't think that's anything to complain about at all. I'll run through. Those are the team stats that are up there. I'll run through some of the individual numbers. Connor Bazelak, 13-17, 125 yards, quarterback rating of 138.2. Terry Wilson, 2 for 6, 9 yards, quarterback rating of 45.9. Running the football, Larry Roundtree, 17 for 58 and a touchdown. Bazelak, 4 for 19. Beatty, 4 for 17. Receiving, Hazelton, 5 for 44. Hay, 3 for 29. Beatty, 2 for 15. Chisholm, 1 for 24, and that was a big one. Kentucky running the football, Asim Rose, 4 for 41. 29 of them on one carry. Chris Rodriguez, 5 for 17. Gatewood, 3 for 6. Wilson, 3 for -8. So Kentucky, 15 carries, 56 yards, 8 passes, 9 yards. Defense has been phenomenal for Missouri. Let's check, because of that, some of the defensive stats. Nick Bolton, 5 solo tackles, a sack, a quarterback hurry. Martez Manuel has 3 tackles. For Kentucky, Yusuf Corker has 7 tackles. DeAndre Square, 4 tackles and a hurry. Jamar Watson, 4 tackles and a hurry. On TV they're showing Jalen Waddle out for the year. That's awful. I mean, just awful. That's why a lot of guys, I think, were opting out before the season, to be quite honest. But anyway, back on this game, 10-3 at half. It's a short game. Each team had 4 possessions. First possession of that third quarter is, man, that's going to be huge. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take a break for 10 minutes. Leave the window open. I'll be back. But I'm just going to take a break, go get something to drink, and we'll be back and get set for the third quarter. All right, I'm back. Gabe DeArmond here on the call, presented by Colin and Gentry Law Group. Appreciate you guys joining us. I'm guessing halftime has 6-7 minutes left, so we're going to roll through some of your all's comments and kind of get going here in the second half. Interesting, I was thinking to myself kind of what my thoughts were on the first half, and then I went and read Mitchell Forty's on PowerMizzou, and his first sentence was exactly what I was going to say. Missouri is beating Kentucky at its own game, and that's impressive. So Dan says, I assume sarcastically, great clock management by Drinkwitz. Hats off to the D. Yeah, look, that they mishandled the end of the first half. I don't think there's any question about it. Now, maybe it doesn't come back and bite them. Maybe it does. I don't know. And Sir Mufflebun says also, only problem with Drinkwitz is the clock management. Look, it's not enough to be a pattern yet or anything, but that was mishandled at the end of the first half. They wasted enough time that they cost themselves at least one play, maybe two, and then also they rushed to the line and ran a quarterback sneak that really they didn't need to run. I mean, get up there and spike the ball. You save 4 seconds. You've got 2 shots at the end zone. So I think Missouri probably cost itself 3 snaps, honestly, inside the 10-yard line. So, yeah, not good at the end of the first half, but you are up 10-3, and like T-Rye says, you take it. It could have been better, no question, but you take it. Andy's asking if Nico Hay was open there on that last play, and I don't really know. It looked like Parker maybe was open for a second, but you don't want to force anything there because you don't want a tip ball or a pick, and then you get no points. You've got to make sure you get 3 there. Basically, that's the situation where you're telling your quarterback, if you don't know you have a throw you can make, you just launch it out the back of the end zone, and we'll take the 3. Play good in the second half, and we have a good shot. Yeah, you just replicate that half. I mean, it doesn't have to be 40 to 10. You take 10-3. I mean, defense plays like that. Missouri scores once more and the game's over because Kentucky just showed nothing that it could manage to move the ball in the air. Nothing. So if you get up 2 scores, I'm not sure how Kentucky comes back. Now, I would have said that a couple years ago too, and we know what happens. So, okay, there you go. So Drinkwitz said on the SEC network he shouldn't have used the timeouts the way he did there. So, hey, yeah, that's cool. Hey, things happen. He admitted it. So, yeah, there you go. No worries, man. He recognizes it. We recognized it too. So I'm good with that. And obviously I hadn't seen that when we first came back, and I can't hear, so I hadn't heard it. So I'm good with that. Yeah, and Bryce brings up a good point too. There's always 2 sides to this thing, right? Missouri feels good that it has a lead, even though it knows that lead could be a little bit bigger. But Kentucky probably does go in saying, guys, we don't really appear to be capable of completing a forward pass. We didn't really run the ball all that well. We gave up 220 yards on defense, and we're down 7-3. Or 10-3. We're 1 play away from tying this game. Now, I'm interested to see who Kentucky goes with on defense. I'm sorry, not on defense, at quarterback. Because I don't really know what I'd do. I think I'd probably go back to Terry Wilson. I mean, if Terry Wilson was your starter coming in, I think he's your starter now because he didn't. Joey Gatewood didn't do anything to take the job away from it. Wilson wasn't great, but he did at least complete 2 passes. Joey Gatewood didn't spark the offense or anything like that. So that I'd probably go with him. All right, Indiana up on Penn State. That's interesting. And I know you guys mostly probably saw this. Jalen Waddle from Alabama out for the season. It's awful. you hate seeing that for any good player. I mean, look, Alabama's going to win. They're going to win big. I'm sure they're going to play in the national title game, or at least in the playoff. But you just hate seeing that, man. Jalen Waddle is a special player, and you want to see guys like that be able to finish the year. Should Mizzou become more aggressive in the second half? I really don't think so, unless they need to. I like this game plan. You're basically, the way Kentucky beats you is you make mistakes, right? They don't run away and hide from anybody. They capitalize on your mistakes. The way Missouri is playing right now is you're going to have to beat us. We're not going to beat ourselves. I like it. It's working. Until Kentucky shows that it can go down and score points and put some pressure on you, why change what's working? Short passes, controlled passing game, don't take risks, hand it off to Roundtree and Beatty. Sometimes a punt's a good play, guys. Now, yeah, you'd like to get a score on this drive, even if it's only a field goal. You'd like to get points out of the first drive of the second half. But if you do that and you go up 10 points, no, I completely take the air out of the ball. That's what I would do. Yeah, that's a good point. I was saying earlier that nothing really happens in a Missouri-Kentucky game until the fourth quarter. So fair point. I guess we have to wait and see how things go. So good. I appreciate you keeping me honest, David. T. Rise says go with Wilson. Justin says don't turn the ball over and you win this game. As of now, I would agree. But look, adjustments can be made. Offenses can look better in the second half. We'll see what Eddie Gran has figured out at halftime. But yeah, right now, Missouri certainly has been the much better team. It really hasn't even been close. So. Missouri gets the ball to start the third quarter. Pretty quick half, though. Slowed down a little bit there toward the end. Joey Gatewood's got the helmet on the Kentucky sideline. I don't know about Terry Wilson. I haven't seen him, but Gatewood looks like he thinks he's playing, even though Kentucky's obviously not coming out for offense here. But Gatewood looks ready to play, at least on the sideline. No quarterback questions for Missouri. You found your guy. Be interested to see if we see anything with Sean Robinson at, receiver or anything like that in this half. Which, as far as I know, we didn't see in the first half. Handoff to Nico Hay is interesting. I can't say I really understand it, to be quite honest, but it's interesting. And false start, looked like it was Parker. That is 5 penalties for 39 yards on Missouri. And obviously that's probably the one negative. That's too many. There was a face mask. That false start, there was a formation penalty. Seems like a lot of them have been holding. That also doesn't include a couple that Kentucky declined. So penalties will need to be cleaned up after this one. Nice job by Knox to make that much out of the second down play, put him in 3rd and 5 because it really wasn't there, but he slipped a tackle and found a little bit of a hole. So. Yeah, Eric, Knox didn't I don't think he was targeted, but he was in the game in the first half. He definitely played. He just, I don't think had a catch or a carry in the first half. Bazelak has made a couple of really nice throws on the run. He's got some pocket awareness. Knows where to be, and he doesn't really panic. Gets out when he needs to get out, runs when he needs to run, and has found an open guy on that play, on a similar play, a couple times, both on third down, I think. Kiki Chisholm might even have been on fourth down. Incomplete, but there's the shot we've been. I mean, you knew it was going to happen at some point that Bazelak was going to go downfield and take a shot. It didn't work, but hey, you got to do it. You got to keep him honest, right? Don't let him creep up too much on the run and the short stuff. Yeah, he may have slowed down. I'm not sure he gets to that anyway. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I ran 55 yards, so I'm not going to judge a guy. Hazelton's had a lot of targets so far today. Easily the most on the team. Let's see if I can see how many. 7 targets, 5 catches for 44 yards. So. And again, Bazelak and Knox hook up, do just enough to move the sticks, you know. All right, Hump 707, happy to have you join us, man. Always good to get a new voice in the conversation. And if they do go on a scoring drive, I'm sure everyone in this chat will give you the appropriate amount of credit for it. So, everybody remember, if Missouri scores on this drive, and they only need about 15 more yards to have a shot, then Hump 707 politely requests that you credit him for those points. So at the least now, you should be able to pin Kentucky inside the 20. You've taken 4 minutes off the clock. So you want more out of this, obviously. But again, with a team that is struggling to move the football, that isn't very explosive, every series you get closer to the end of this game is pretty good. That's the first just like bad throw. The second down to Beatty, that's the first kind of bad throw, panicked look I've seen from Bazelak. And I don't know if Beatty wasn't in the right place or he just, I don't know. Obviously what happened, but that's the first time you've seen him look a little bit rushed and kind of thinking frazzled and wasn't sure where to go. All right, so 4th and 2. I agree with Justin. I'd punt. And I think the play has probably already happened, but it hasn't happened for me, so I want it on the record. I said I would punt before this play, but it appears Missouri is not punting, which I don't have a problem with. I'm especially when it works. Did it work? That's really close. Like, Are we going to get a review here? Because from the angle I saw, I'm not 100% sure they had the first down there. Well, there was no review. I'm still not necessarily sold that Jalen Knox had a first down. Maybe you guys can convince me you saw an angle where you know for sure he did, but I don't know. Either way, Missouri has already taken almost 5 minutes off the clock. They're getting very close to Harrison Meva's field goal range. Not that a field goal's the goal, but you're getting close. Okay, so Alex thought it was short. Davin thought he had the first down. So who knows? I'm not sure there would have been an angle that could have changed the call. Good job for Missouri to get it going. And yeah, like Stryker said, I know he caught it at the 39, but the sticks were at the 39. So where it was close. I don't really know. How many plays has this drive been? Hang on. I actually can tell you that. I do have access to such things. 11 plays, 39 yards, 522, or 11 plays, 39 yards, 438 so far. So, again, just, I don't want to say conservative. I think conservative is the wrong, but efficient. There really haven't been big plays. Let me look up what the longest plays are. I mean, Roundtree has a 13-yard run. Beatty has a 15-yard run. Bazelak has a 13-yard run. Missouri's got one play over 17 yards in this game. Now they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 8 plays over 10 yards, but only one over 17. They've taken what's there. They were leading time of possession almost 19 minutes to under 12 at the half. They've added almost 5 minutes to that. They're basically at this point doubling Kentucky in time of possession. When the clock gets down to 9:50 or so, they are going to be doubling Kentucky in time of possession. I mean, that is beating Kentucky at Kentucky's game. So Missouri should be in what, 2nd and 7 or so when they come back. $16-play drive. That'd be something, but honestly, that's about what this is on pace for. Pretty tough run by Bazelak there. He probably should have lost 3 yards and ended up gaining 4 or 5. 4th down conversion percentage on the season. I do have it. Missouri is 2 for 2 today. And I can tell you shortly what that makes them on the season. Two for 2 today, 6 for 9 on the season on 3rd down. So that's an average of more than 2 4th down attempts per game already, which is pretty impressive. They're in 4th and a long way here. And 4th and 6. Okay, it's not as long as I thought. So, okay, so Missouri 6 for 9 before this play, which you guys have probably seen. I haven't yet. Drive now over 6 minutes. Really nice conversion to Towski Dove, and that's the first we've seen Dove on the field, I think, right? Um, so that's the third fourth down conversion today. They're 7 for 10 on the season on third down. Or fourth down, I'm sorry. 3 for 3 today, 7 for 10 on the year. And now definitely in field goal range. So you should have a 2-score lead at the end of this drive. You will have the time of possession edge approximately 25 to 12. So yeah, and Connor Bazelak absolutely deserves credit for those conversions. So did the line for giving him time and his receivers for hanging on to the ball. Obviously, I mean, just everybody kind of doing their job. I was going to say Tyler Beatty's down there. No fumble. I mean, Bazelak obviously delivering the ball deserves a ton of credit. But also plenty of help from the offensive line and from the receivers. The ball was coming loose a little bit, but I thought he regained possession as before he went to the ground. I could be wrong. I don't think this is a fumble. I want to see another replay, but I thought that he started to bobble it, but then regained possession before he hit the ground. Todd disagrees with me, says it's a fumble. I agree with Justin. That first angle I saw isn't going to show anything. He has that. I think he has that ball before he hits the ground. I think they're going to reverse it, but I don't think they should. Because I think he has the ball there. I don't think that's a fumble. I'm kind of where Todd is. I don't think it's conclusive, but I could see it being overturned. And not because I think Missouri's cursed, just because that's kind of how it goes. So it'll be interesting to see what we get on this. Long review here. I mean, I don't know, Todd. I assume it's being reviewed. I can't hear the broadcast. I don't like. I appreciate the guy has a cramp, but I don't know why we're doing this in the middle of the field. I'm not sure Kentucky's only doing this to get a further look at the play. I think they're exhausted. Like, I think part of this is to give the defense a free timeout, basically. Okay, so Andy's saying no review, I guess. I think it's pretty clear he has control of the ball. What is the announcer's position? T-Rise is saying he's sticking to his position. Again, I can't hear him. Okay, so it's Dort coming off the field, and like that looks like more than a cramp, probably. I mean, I'm not going to guarantee. Like Justin says, he's clearly shaken up. So that's certainly. Well, the announcer may say it's a fumble, but I don't know. They don't appear to be too concerned about it. So, play number 17 coming up on this drive, and look at that time of possession. How long's it been since you've seen that? Missouri sometimes went a month without holding the ball for 25 minutes with Josh Heupel as the OC, and I actually think Heupel was a good OC, but time of possession was not something he tended to focus on much. So the third quarter is more than halfway over, and Kentucky hasn't touched the ball yet. Let me look at the total number of plays. Missouri has run 61 plays, and Kentucky has run 23. I mean, that's insane. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that. It's basically 2.5 plays for Missouri to every one play for Kentucky. I mean, let me go back to this drive and see how many plays this is. It's now a 20-play, 68-yard drive. Missouri has their two scoring drives were 13 plays and 12 plays. So Kentucky has run 23 plays in the game. Missouri has run 20 plays on this drive. Play number 21, is it a first down? No, doesn't look like it. I go for it here. I don't kick the field goal. I go for it. Other teams exhausted, I go for it. If you convert here, you're looking at a 10-minute drive. And even if you don't convert, I mean, you're up 10-3 and they're at their 6-yard line. And they haven't shown they can throw the ball. Oh, guys, I hate that call. I mean, I really hate that call. I like going for it. I don't like going for it with Connor Bazelak on the corner. That's I know it's easy to question after the fact, but I would have gone for it, and I want to be clear. I said I would have gone for it. I don't like running. I mean, I don't think that's Bazelak's thing. That play out. I would have handed it off to Roundtree. I mean, I definitely would have handed it off to Roundtree. Now, look, you are still dominating this game. You are up 10-3. They have the ball on their 8. They've shown no ability to do anything on offense. So if you get a stop here, you're okay. My issue is not going for it. My issue is the play you called to go for it. And again, I know that's easy to say when it doesn't work, but I don't know when else I would say it. So just an interesting stat. Kentucky had run 23 plays all day. Missouri ran 22 plays on that drive. On that drive. I mean, that's crazy, but I agree with T-Rise. Hand the ball off to the running back. And yeah, I agree with Dennis. Like, you just don't go wide. I agree. Bazelak isn't slow, but he's not a guy on 4th and 1 that you say, go get the corner, I don't think. You're basically relying on tricking him and relying on nobody following Bazelak when that's your call. And I'm not sure 4th and 1 is the time to go for the trick, but we'll see. I agree with Matt. Hand the ball off, get a yard. You know. Or hand the ball off, don't get a yard maybe, but, you know, whatever. Also, I was wrong. That was a 21-play drive, not a 22-play drive. So, but still, Kentucky ran 23 plays in the game. Missouri ran 21 on that drive, and it got them no points. So, not great, obviously. Now it's up to the defense. Look, you let Kentucky drive down and tie this game, then you don't like where you're at all, and Drinkwitz is probably going to have tough questions to ask about 4th and 1. You get a stop, you get the ball back at your own 40, you're fine. No big deal. And see, Andy, I don't think a touchdown there would have put the game away by any means. It would have made you feel pretty good. But it's way too early to have put the game away. And Dan, that was misdirection. That play call was absolutely misdirection. That was fake it up the middle, send your quarterback on a bootleg and hope nobody goes with him. It was really well played by Kentucky, which was the problem. And see, Salts, I don't think you need a turnover here. I think you just need a stop. Just get the ball back in good field goal position or in field position. Kentucky absolutely has to have a couple first downs here. If they give the ball right back to Missouri, that defense is exhausted. They absolutely have to have a couple first downs here. Oh, Terry Wilson incredibly lucky on second down not to be picked off by Nick Bolton. But that's not on Wilson. That's on his receiver. I mean, that ball, look, I don't think it was a big play, but that ball had to be caught on second down. Oh. Kentucky might have to go with Joey Gatewood the rest of the day. I mean, that was a shot from Nick Bolton. But huge stop for the defense. Huge stop. And this is why I'm okay with going. Because your defense had been playing really well. Kentucky's now punting from its own 12-yard line. It managed to keep the ball for a grand total of a minute and a half. Striker, I do not have average starting field position, at least not that I can get to quickly. I probably can look it up at some point, but I don't have it right now. Cade Mustard fair catch is at the 40 there, so. Okay, so, in the end, if you get points on this drive, even 3, it mitigates, it basically takes away that last drive. Because had you gotten points on that drive, then Kentucky's starting at the 25. You're not in the same field position you are. So you can't just say, if you get points on this drive, it's largely because of that last drive. So you're okay for right now. The defense is playing very well. I still don't have a big problem with having gone for it. And the reason is because of where they're at now. Ball on their 40. Kentucky's defense has to be absolutely exhausted. I tell you what, first down here, I'd probably hand it to Roundtree, but if you get 5 or 6 on first down, I would 100% play fake and take a shot and try to wear somebody out. I would take a shot early here. But we will see what Missouri does eventually. Let's check time of possession here. It's, I'm sure, ridiculous. Time of possession currently 27:54 to 13:10. Plays are 63 to 26. And yet it's a one-score game, right? So Kentucky is 2 for 9 for 9 yards. They have 71 yards of offense on the whole day. They're incredibly fortunate to be in the game. Missouri has made mistakes. The clock management at the end of the first half may have cost Missouri 4 points. The not converting there on 4th and a yard may have cost Missouri 6 points. So you can make the argument, like best case scenario, Missouri's up 21-3 right now. But that's not what's going on. They're up 10-3, and now Missouri needs points. Because now you're reaching the point where you've got to quit letting them hang around. You've got to quit letting them be one play away from tying this game. So I think you need points on this drive. Beautiful play call on first down. I said I'd take a shot on second down. They did it on first. Jalen Knox has been big in this game. He's got now, 5 catches for 60 yards. He and Bazelak, nice connections. So all right, so I'm going to catch up on some of these comments here. Are we seeing defensive progression by the Tigers or offensive regression by the Cats? I think it's probably some of both. Critical of Walters against LSU, deserves credit today. Absolutely. Okay, it looked like maybe Roundtree came up limping a little bit, but either way, they're inside the 20. Last drive doesn't hurt now. You're in field goal range. Last drive doesn't hurt as long as you get to the 2-score lead. All right, so I'm just rolling through comments here, guys, catching up and throwing them on the broadcast. Like you guys are saying, I mean, their defense has to be absolutely exhausted. I don't remember the last time I've seen a defense on the field for this long. Beatty off tackle for 8, and I mean, this defense, they can't have anything left. This is the longest I think I've ever seen a defense be on the field through 3 quarters. It's probably not actually a record, but it seems like it should be a record. Let me check the Bama score. Bama now 42-17 in the 4th. It feels like 1 score and 1 stop is a knockout blow here. Because with Kentucky's offense, I think 1 score and 1 stop kind of ends this game. And I agree with everybody. Just keep pounding the ball. Roundtree limping. It looked to me like he had a little hamstring maybe coming off that run that put him down to the 17-yard line. But clearly, Roundtree's back in, but got to about the 1 foot line there, I think. I don't know what the reference to 2012 is for sure, but no, don't run the option. Hand the ball off up the middle. It's second and a foot. Just hand the ball off up the middle. I mean, Missouri's about to hold this ball for 13 minutes in this quarter. There you go. Larry Roundtree's second 1-yard touchdown run of the day. It is 17-3. Well, it should be 17-3 here pretty soon. And again, this game isn't over. I think one more stop and this game is over. But this game is not over right now. PAT, not perfect, but good. And Missouri getting there. They're getting there. Not there yet, but reason to be optimistic, reason to feel good. And Bryce, I don't know if Kentucky has to start throwing it quite yet, but the problem is I don't think Kentucky can stop Missouri at this point. Their defense is so beat. Even if you drive the length of the field, I'm not sure you can get a stop because you're only going to score twice. You have to keep Missouri scoreless the rest of the game. Your offense simply isn't explosive enough to score 3 times in the fourth quarter, so you can't give up this many. You can't give up any more points and win this game. So I think, and I just don't have any trust in this Kentucky defense at this point. And I don't even blame them. They've got to be absolutely exhausted. But this is simply imposing will in a football game as much as anything I've ever seen. I mean, I'll update the stats here at the end of the third quarter, but they are far more lopsided than 17-3 would indicate. I mean, Missouri has 17 points. Kentucky has 27 plays. Or, you know. The thing I hate most in televised sports now is the commercials with the game in the other window, like just in the middle of the action. I'd just like to put that out there as something that I really hate. Big run. Obviously, you don't want to give up 17 yards on a run, but again, if they have to run the ball, at least they're burning time. But again, don't want to give up 17 yards at a crack. I tell you what, man, that 24 Henderson, that is a big back. Kentucky, by the way, still has not cracked 100 yards of total offense, and we have 6 seconds left in the third quarter. Now we have no seconds left in the third quarter. Personal foul after the whistle. That's stupid football. Called it on Rakestraw. Let's see it. Yeah, I mean, that's stupid football. You don't do that. And look, Rakestraw clearly started it. They caught the guy who started it. That's poor. And look, I want to be let's be real clear here. Barry Odom got murdered for penalties and poor clock management against Kentucky. I'm just saying, the old guy gets killed, the new guy gets praised. We've seen some of the same things today. Now, look, his team's probably going to win. They're ahead. And I'm not saying you kill him, but I'm just saying it's a difference in perception based on what you think of the guy going into the game. Because there have been some curious things. Clock management at the end of the first half, play call on 4th and goal, a lot of penalties. I'm just saying, they deserve a ton of credit if they win the game, but keep the praise within reason as well. Is I guess kind of my point. Okay, I'm gonna update stats here, and again, Kentucky 91 yards of total offense through 3 quarters. I mean, that's going to win you a whole lot of games. Missouri deserves a ton of credit for that. Passing yards, this one is even crazier. Missouri has 201. Kentucky still has 9. Kentucky does not have a passing yard in the last 2 quarters. That is unbelievable. I mean, this is 2020, people. We're trying to throw the football out here. I think I shorted Kentucky 4 yards. I did. It is 195 total yards, but still clearly not very good. First downs are 20-6. I mean, this is the most dominant 17-3 game I think I've ever seen. It's frankly somewhat miraculous. Kentucky has 3. Neither team has a turnover. And a lot of people thought coming into this, hey, if you manage to not turn it over, you can beat Kentucky. And that has proven true. Kentucky relied very much on takeaways and over the last 2 weeks, and so far, Missouri has not committed any, and Missouri is playing pretty well. Up 20-6 again. I think they're one stop from ending this game, or one score, either one. We are basically now at the point where we have been in some previous Missouri-Kentucky games, and that is Kentucky now has to do everything right to win this game. Well, we've seen it happen, which is why we're not going to say it can't happen. We've seen it happen a couple of times. At this point, Missouri needs one stop, even a field goal, or one drive, one score, and that will end in the game. But it hasn't happened yet. So, you got to wait for it to happen. So, okay, now let's roll through some of these comments. Okay, so Kentucky now down at the 30-yard line. They just, with that play, went over 100 yards in total offense. My feed just froze briefly, so that'll make it tough. I don't know. I assume it'll start again here at some point. Hey, Kentucky gets a passing yard. Assuming that was a forward pass, that is Kentucky's first 3 passing yards since the first quarter. They now have 12 for the game. And Stryker, you bring up an excellent point. Yes, Barry Odom, 100% couldn't beat Kentucky. That's the difference. You're right. No question. And yes, I agree. It is different. There is life. I hesitated to say what I was saying because, yes, Drinkwitz deserves a lot of praise. No question. He has people excited again. They are playing well. I'm just saying let's not gloss over some things that need to be better or can be better just in the wake of that. But 100%, they're winning the game. They look like they should win the game. He has injected life into a program that didn't have much life. I didn't mean any of that to come off as criticizing Drinkwitz, or saying Odom was better, anything like that. I just want to be clear about that. So, anyway. You can't give up a 40-yard touchdown to this offense. You just can't do it. That was on, and look, Rakestraw got beat, but that's on Tyree Gillespie to me. He was either late getting over or just, I don't know. I thought he was going to get there. Yeah, and he just didn't get there. I don't know if it was a bad angle or he was late. I thought he was going to get there, and it didn't happen. So, hey, again, we were at the point where Missouri was one play away from the knockout punch, and then they didn't get the knockout punch. And now Kentucky's alive again, and this is where the ghosts start to come up about what has gone on in the last 5 years in this rivalry. Basically, at the point, the defense has played well all day, and at the point where the defense could have ended the game, the defense can't end the game. So now it's back to the offense, and look, Kentucky's exhausted. You hand the ball off 100 times and pound it at them, but if Kentucky gets a stop here, you're not going to feel very good. I mean, you're just not going to feel very good. And so, yeah, you guys, I'm rolling through the comments now. We see the same thing. No question. And Bryce says, wish we had the field goal. But again, it's not that field goal to me because you still got the ball back and scored on the ensuing drive, which you may not have done if you'd kicked a field goal there. The whole game changes. To me, the bigger kind of what if right now is the end of the first half, where Missouri mishandled everything and cost itself probably 3 to 4 snaps and maybe 4 points. That's the one I look back more at than going for it on 4th and 1 because you got a 3 and out, you got the ball back, and you scored on a short field. So I don't think not getting those points was huge. But I think you cost yourself at the end of the first half, and those are ones that maybe you are going to want at the end. But, okay, there's a good point on T-Rise. Maybe he was watching the run. I don't know. And pass rush non-existent. But, again, I don't think they're really trying to get to Wilson that much. I think they're forcing him to win this game with his arm. And that's the only time all day he's shown any ability to do it. I mean, it was a nice throw. You got to give him credit. But, Look, I get the penalties are different. I get it. Missouri is dominating this game. Missouri should win this game. If they don't, none of those penalties have taken points off the board, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But, hey, we flash back to 2 years ago. So I'm sure this isn't bringing up any bad memories for anybody. Odd to show a recap of that game and not show the terrible pass interference penalty that was called on AC, though. So anyway, I mean, here's where it is. Missouri has the ball. You go down and drive. You go score here. You should win the game. So it's back on the offense. One side needs to make a play here. It's the offense's turn. I'd repeat the last drive. Like, I wouldn't go quick strike because Kentucky scored fast. Like, that defense is back on the field. Time of possession is still 31 minutes to less than 16. They have to be exhausted. Even they got like a 4-minute break. So I'd go back at them. That's a pretty tough 3-yard gain on first down for Roundtree, or 2-yard gain. I mean, that's a good 2-yard run, if there is such a thing. This honestly feels a lot like watching the Chiefs-Buffalo game last week. You're sitting here going, how is this game as close as it is? How does that one team have a chance? And I don't really know, but they do. All right, so biggest play of the day coming up, 3rd and 4. I mean, Kentucky gets a stop here, all bets off. Kentucky will have all the momentum, and you won't feel very good because of what's happened the last few years. If you can get a first down, move the chains, you got a little bit of you restore a little bit of order. I'm looking at Jalen Knox here because he's been the guy to make those conversions for Missouri so far. Oh, he's a half-yard short. I don't think you can go for it here. I just don't think you can. So, hey, nice closeout by Kentucky. They made it again. When it reached a point where Kentucky has to make every play, since that point, Kentucky has made every play. Now, still 11 and a half minutes left, still a lot of time. Pressure is still on Kentucky, but it has made every play for the last 4 minutes. Making them drive 79 yards. So, now it's back on the defense. Now, let's look at Kentucky had 95 yards in the first 3 quarters. They have 131 for the game. They're averaging 4.1 yards a play. They have 26 of their 35 yards on one pass. They have 3 completed passes all day. This is not a team that should be able to drive 79 yards on you. But they have all the momentum. So this is where things get interesting. See which team kind of believes right now, I guess, honestly. I'm not sure I'm not sure there's a better word for it. This is a lot about confidence and emotion right now. Missouri needs a play to kind of stem the tide. They're still I don't want to say they're in control of this game. They still have the advantage in this game, but they need something to stem the tide. Hump, the delay is a 2-part thing. Part of it is YouTube, and part of it is just that I'm on Hulu and my streaming is a play or 2 behind you guys. So yeah, and Justin, exactly. I mean, Kentucky's got 79 yards to go. Missouri is in good shape. They've got the advantage here, but no guarantees. They've let Kentucky hang around enough that Kentucky still has life when it seems like they probably shouldn't, but they do, so you deal with it. Going back through the greatest hits of Kentucky quarterbacks against Missouri, or Kentucky stars against Missouri at least. This is again, this losing streak has not been Eli Drinkwitz's, but this is the one that Missouri fans like. This is the one keeping Missouri from getting close to where it wants to be in this division. This is the opponent. You have them down. You have dominated them. New staff, new players, doesn't matter. There are ghosts here. Missouri needs to get rid of some of those ghosts. Nice play in run support by Josh Bledsoe, and Akil Byers kind of looked like he picked the guy up and gave an extra little stuff into the ground. I'm not sure that's probably not flag worthy, but also not a real smart play. I mean, once again, third and long. Kentucky's literally made one play all day on offense, right? Maybe a couple, but mostly one. So you just keep doing what you've been doing on defense. Trajan Jeffcoat around the corner. This team can't beat you throwing the football. They can't beat you. And again, it's been Trajan Jeffcoat in the backfield a couple times. You know. So nice defense by Missouri there. 10-20. Again, you get one score, you win this game. Even a field goal. Any points, this game is over. Kentucky is not scoring twice in the last 8 minutes. I'd run the football. You got to minimize the possibility for mistakes and turnovers. The last thing you want is for Bazelak to throw a pick. And, yeah, this punting game has looked really weird all day long, no question. So, I think even if you got the ball at, what, you're 35 or 40? 30 yards from a reasonable field goal attempt. 35, maybe. That was a good keep by Bazelak there. I thought he had handed that ball off and ended up making 3 out of not much. Obviously, on 3rd and 7, you're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to throw the football. Just curious, did they miss a face mask on that 2nd down run? That's a really nice scramble. Let's see if it stands. My guess is no. Could be a late hit here. There you go. So if you only get one penalty on Kentucky, that's a good time to have it. All right, so now Missouri's going to be at about the Wildcat 40, 8:49 to play. You need 10, 15 yards for a field goal. Now, that's not the goal. You want 6. But if you can get 3, it probably wins the game. I'm not 100% sure that was a hold, but whatever. Yeah, this is basically, we're not going to throw a pass until we have to. I think Michael Wilson just tried to kick somebody after first down. This is definitely getting chippy out there, and I'm sure it's going both ways. Let's see what Roundtree's numbers are here. 32 for 109. Only 3.4 a carry. Clearly a career high in carries for Larry Roundtree. Look, Drinkwood said after each of the first 2 games, I got to get him the ball more, and he has. He deserves credit for that. And, yeah, this is a time where you just hand it to Roundtree, wear him down, wear him down, wear him down, kick a field goal. You know. Because now you're at the point, if you kick a field goal, there's going to be about 6 minutes on the clock. What has Kentucky done to show they're going to score twice? Unless Lynn Bowden comes back to return punts. Or you give it away. Yeah, carry number 33 for Roundtree. I'm not sure what the Mizzou record is. I'm sure at some point there was some guy in 1954 who had 42 carries, but my goodness. I think, so answering this question, when I said how many points Mizzou would need to get a win, I think I said before this game 21 points would probably win this game. And I think that's probably going to be accurate. Yeah, Dennis, that's something we're going to have to look up. But, I mean, 33 carries is the most in a long, long, long time for anybody here. And make it 34. It's going to be 3rd and a yard. Roundtree. I mean, look at Roundtree's whole team surrounding him on the sideline. These are guys getting behind their guy. Somebody is absolutely losing it and just got knocked down by a coach. Yeah, Joseph tried to deliver the blow there, and Larry Roundtree was not going down. I didn't realize that Roundtree had picked up a first down on that last carry. So now, look, you just run it. You don't put the ball in the air. You just run it and kick a field goal if you have to. Time of possession now 33 to 16. Oh, no, this isn't even updated. It's closer to 39 to 16 at this point, or 38 to 16. Plays are about 1 million to 12. That's it. I get it. You got to keep them honest and throw the ball, but they had 2 tight ends in the same place. I wouldn't have thrown the ball, but, nitpicking there. Yeah, clearly Hay and Christofferson were back to back. Somebody ran the wrong route there. All right, so we're taking a 3-minute commercial, I guess. It looked like. Yeah, I would like that rule if you get hurt, you miss the rest of the series. But like sometimes, I mean, I guess if you are legitimately hurt, you're probably missing the rest of the series anyway. So yeah, if you're faking it, you should miss the rest of the series. I can see that. Scott says they're exhausted. Run it. I agree. Run the football here because all you need is a field goal. You don't need a touchdown. Just run the football, kick it, and take a 20-10 lead. And I don't think Kentucky can come back and beat you. Famous last words. I get it, and I get why. If there's ever any opponent you that would scare you against, it's this one. But I think right now you're playing for the field goal, not the touchdown. I mean, if you get the touchdown, great. But field goal is what you're playing for. Okay, so I've completely quit paying attention to any other scores in college football. Alabama's up 48-17, so that one is pretty much over. Yeah, Salts, I wouldn't hate Beatty being in there. I think you just got to go with the guy that you think is most likely to hang on to the ball. And that's why I don't like a jet sweep or reverse. Asking a receiver who doesn't handle the ball, any sort of trick there, you're just playing for three. I'm fine with a handoff to Roundtree off tackle. If he happens to bounce it back, bounce it. And I'm fine with Beatty, too. Beatty generally has been pretty secure with the ball. But I'm not trying to get fancy or tricky. You have bloodied their nose and beaten them up by running the football straight at them all day long. I see no need to do anything but that here. That was almost an amazing catch by Michael Wilson. It's too dangerous for my taste. I don't love it, but I mean, look, the guy's been aggressive. That's what he does. And if it worked, we're all giving him credit for having huge balls. So I guess we have to be, I I wouldn't have done it, but hey, that's just me. Doesn't matter. They didn't turn it over. Now you're gonna try the field goal, or maybe not because oh, it's third down. Okay, I see. I thought that was the third down play. My fault. Anyway, yeah, Tyler Beatty down to 3, and now this thing should be pretty much over. So apparently, I'm like Tom Brady, and I can't count. But either way, Tyler Beatty moves the sticks. You've now got 3 cracks from the 3-yard line, and if you don't get it this time, you 100% kick the 19-yard field goal, without question. Not ideal there, but honestly, at this point, every second you burn off the clock, it hurts Kentucky. I mean, they're going to get the ball back, assuming you can at least make a kick. They're going to get the ball back with under 4 minutes left, down 2 scores. Also, like that Missouri has taken this clock down, as far as they can, under 10 seconds every time. I'd probably even take it down a couple more seconds, but I'm not going to argue much. Again, not scoring there is fine. Like, I actually almost think it's better if Missouri takes 3 full plays and has to kick a field goal. They're about to have 40 minutes of time of possession here. Yeah, I agree, Bryce. At some point, Stoops needs to be using timeouts. Looks like Larry Borum shook up on that last play, I guess. I still think I'd still run the football. I still wouldn't throw it here. Ooh, that a little bit dangerous. And see, the problem is that play goes out of bounds. So now the clock stops. If you make the field goal, it's not a big deal. But that doesn't make very much sense there. And like you guys are saying, yeah, you first of all, that's a dangerous play on that option pitch, man. Anything can happen. And second of all, it brings into play going out of bounds. So one more snap where Kentucky shouldn't. I mean, and you look at that pitch to Knox, like that was a nice catch by Knox. That was dangerous. And if that ball bounces the wrong way and Kentucky scoops it up, they're going the other way. All of a sudden, man, you got disaster on your hands. So I don't love that at all. Now you kick the field goal, obviously, which I assume he's doing. Okay, so Missouri extends the lead. Harrison Mevis has made every kick he's had to take. So now you got a 2-score lead with 3:10 to play. It would, this game should be over. It is going to take perfection from Kentucky and help from Missouri to lose this game. I mean, that's where we're at this point. And again, we've seen it happen before. I understand against this team why you don't feel comfortable at this point. But, you should feel comfortable at this point, I would think. Or at least, maybe not comfortable, maybe confident. And yeah, it definitely should have been over a while ago. But when you're not getting big plays, all it takes is one or two things to allow the other team to stay in the game. Again, this reminded me so much of Chiefs-Bills. Like, the Chiefs won that game 26-17. There was a second where it looked like Buffalo had a chance. The Chiefs doubled them up in yardage, and there was never 1 second in that game where the Bills were the better team. But the way the Chiefs were doing it kept it close. Same thing happened today. Missouri clearly was the better team all day long, start to finish. There were like 2 snaps where Kentucky has been the better team. But because of the way Missouri was doing it, Kentucky still had a chance, and still technically do have a chance. But now Terry Wilson got to drop back and throw the football, and I wonder if we'll see Gatewood, although he didn't look great throwing the ball either. So now you've got a team that is 3 for 12 for 35 yards throwing the football that's going to have to come out and score two times in 3:07. I mean, Missouri has more than triple Kentucky's yardage. 411 to 133, 201 to 35 passing, 210 to 98 rushing. Incredibly balanced, actually, now that you look at it. But those 210 rushing yards have come on 56 carries. The 201 passing yards on 30 passes. Missouri has run 86 plays to 35 for Kentucky. This is, I don't know how else to say this. This is the lowest scoring margin of an ass kicking that it is possible to have. I mean, Missouri dominated this game like few games I have ever watched be dominated. And here we are, right? So just 86 to 35 is a mind-blowing number, guys. I mean, you don't see that happen. The time of possession, I think I skipped over that. Let me go look again. Time of possession, 40-14 for Missouri. Kentucky can hold the ball the rest of regulation, and it won't be at 20 minutes. Missouri's going to have a 2-1 edge. This is from the team that, like 4 years ago, was last in the country in time of possession. Drinkwitz talked about having a power run game, and he's gotten it today. They have beaten Kentucky at Kentucky's game. This is as impressive as LSU was. This impresses me more. I think this is more impressive than LSU. First of all, because of the way you've done it. Second of all, because you've been completely dominant. Third of all, because of who it is. And I know LSU is the defending national champ, but Kentucky, Kentucky's got some mojo on you the last few years. And those ghosts exist. Whether you talk about it or acknowledge it or not, those ghosts exist. So credit to Eli Drinkwitz. Look, I said after the LSU game, that kind of raised my expectation for the season. This raises it another notch. I now think this is a team that should finish this season 500. Missouri might have the ball. Missouri came out with the ball, but let's see what they call it on the field. Jarvis Ware's making the call. See if Missouri tries to challenge this or just goes ahead and plays. Josh Bledsoe is dancing. So let's see. If this is reversed, obviously ball game. That angle, the first angle they show, obviously you can't reverse anything based on that. Let's see here. That's a fumble. That's Missouri ball. I don't think there's any question about it. I think it was not called a fumble on the field because of the angle, but this should be Missouri football. I don't think there's any question. And if so, then obviously ball game. And you're about to see a sideline explode. So Kentucky has 2 timeouts, but I'll be interested to see if Stoops bothers using them. I mean, Missouri's there's too much time left to down the ball, so you're at least going to be handing the ball off. But obviously, this ball game's over. We can at least update Kentucky's stats, I think, because I don't think they're going to get the ball back. $145 total yards, guys. I mean, Ryan Walters took some heat, but this is – and I know Kentucky's not the best offensive team in America or anything like that, but 145 total yards and 8 first downs, that doesn't happen at this level. That was just sheer dominance from Missouri defensively all day long. And we said at the beginning of the day, come out, stuff the run, force them to beat you throwing the football. Kentucky, 23 carries for 98 yards. It was all right. 4 for 13 passing for 47 yards. I mean, Missouri forced Kentucky to show that it could win the game throwing the football, and it can't. At least it didn't. Not today. So I don't know. My feed is okay. Here we go. We're down under 2 minutes. My feed was freezing up there for a minute. Yeah, good point by Gary Bledsoe. This one obviously not quite as clutch or as pressure as the one last week, but Bledsoe making big plays at the end of a couple games. Okay, the record for carries in a game is 45 by Zayn Gilmore. Larry Roundtree not going to get there. He only has 37. He's run for 126 yards, and he's only averaging 3.4 a carry. That's pretty crazy. So, look, 4th and 1, I'm going for it here, right? I mean, a field goal didn't do you any good. I go for it here. All right, guys, so here's the situation. When this ends, we'll update the stats real quick. We'll sign off. I'm going to jump on Eli Drinkwitz's Zoom call. I'll record that. I'll jump back on and start the post-game show as soon as we are done talking to Drinkwitz. My guess is 40-ish minutes, something like that. But we'll see. Yeah, and Justin, this is what we were just talking about. I go for it. I mean, a field goal doesn't do you any good. What's the point of a field goal? Put you up 13. That doesn't matter. Exactly, Scott. If they block it and run it back for some reason, like it's probably not going to happen, but no, you go for it here. I don't think there's any question. I'd punt before I'd kick a field goal. So eventually something will happen. Here we go. Yeah, 4th and 1 out of the shotgun. I don't think Missouri got it, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, appreciate everybody that managed to join us today. It always tends to be more fun when they win. So appreciate you guys being here. Let some other people know. Bring some friends next week. They don't have to be PowerMizzou subscribers. They can just they can follow us on YouTube. We hope they will become PowerMizzou subscribers after watching this. But wow, that spot. So I had just assumed that this ball was going back to Kentucky. That spot sure makes it look like Missouri got the first down, which is crazy. I don't think there's any way he got that first down. Whatever. I guess that means I can update the stats because Missouri will take a knee here, so. See how many first downs Missouri had. A lot. 26-8 first downs, guys. So, yeah, obviously, hell of an effort from Eli Drinkwitz's club, and he deserves all the credit there is to be given. No question. This is now a team I expect to probably be 500 this year. And everything you guys hoped about this guy, he's showing it so far, especially after the first 2 weeks. First 2 weeks I thought, man, they just don't have the horses, and look, he has gotten them in the last 2 weeks to do a couple things that I didn't think they could do. To do one thing that they haven't done in 6 years. So unbelievably impressive. I don't know why we're spending so much time worrying about whether this is a first down or not. I mean, the game is over. So Gary, best wishes to your father, man. Hope everything's okay there. So anyway, whatever. I don't know why we're reviewing this. I mean, I get fighting to the whistle, but it truly doesn't matter. That one way or another, this game is over. All we're doing now is wasting everybody's time. So now you go down to Florida next week. Who knows who Florida's going to have available? That'll be interesting to see what happens. Get a week off. And then Georgia, you probably still don't feel great about that one. But you look a lot differently at the season now than you were looking at the season 3 weeks ago. No question. Not only 91 snaps for Missouri, they ran it on 61 of them. I mean, that is unbelievable. They held the ball they're going to hold the ball for 43 minutes and 10 seconds by the time this thing is over. I've never seen anything quite like this. I mean, honestly, I've watched a lot of football. I'm not sure I've seen anything quite this dominant, especially in a game that you didn't really know was over until about 5 minutes ago. I guess I got to change the stats again. For some reason, Missouri's still running the football. Okay, guys. So Connor Bazelak going to take a knee. Missouri wins 20-10 over Kentucky. They even their record at 2-2. Again, just one last look. There are your final stats. Want to thank one more time the Colin Gentry Law Group for presenting this, for making it possible. Thank all you guys for hanging out. Everybody who subscribed, liked the show, all that, who commented, who made this possible. It only works if you guys jump in. So we will be back again. I'm jumping on Eli Drinkwitz's call. Be back right after that, and we'll have the post-game show. We'll give out the number again, but it's 573-234-4935. Hope to talk to some of you guys, and we will catch up soon.